Hello and welcome, my exclusive and distinguished group in this module for Chapter 7. I hope I got the right chapter this week. We are talking about leadership, followership, and mentorship. So, how and why do the authors differentiate between leadership and management? The book, of course, talked a lot about the differences between management and leadership. In defining it, common wisdom is they're both pretty interchangeable. The fact is, though, that there are distinct roles in an organization. One skill does not necessarily mean the other is in place. So for management, the noun and the verb are important in every organization. There are individuals who use communication to help the group accomplish its goals by properly utilizing resources. I usually understand the term to manage as referring to the figuring out how to get the best results out of limited resources, whether it's time, money, personnel, equipment. So Levitt in the book defines on page 192, management consists of the rational assessment of a situation and the systematic selection of goals and purposes, or what is to be done. The systematic development of strategies to achieve these goals, then the marshaling, the gathering of the required resources, the rational design, organization, direction, and control of the activities required to attain the selected purposes, and finally, the motivating and rewarding of people to do the work, carrot and the stick. In contrast, then, there is leadership, which tends to signify the personality and the activity of envisioning and articulating a vision and goals. So on to page 193, Hackman and Johnson defined it as leadership is human or symbolic communication, which modifies the attitudes and behaviors of others in order to meet shared common group goals and needs. Then Zalesnik on page 193 added that when organizations are caught in a conflict where managers try to keep things steady and consistent, but where leaders disrupt things with new approaches and different directions. So this reminds me of a figurative situation, I've heard this before, where there's a team of explorers and they are deep in a jungle. The crew are down deep under the canopy of the jungle. It's dark. There are weird sounds and smells and sticky things. So they've got their machetes. They are chopping away. They've got their mules pulling heavy objects through there. They've got this equipment. They're headed from point A to point B. The manager has in mind, okay, we need to get from here to there. I need to keep everyone's equipment in order. I need to keep, people from passing out from dehydration. I need to keep the compass direction straight so that we continue consistently in the right direction. I need to focus on morale. I need to focus on, people not getting sick, people not disappearing, getting eaten by panthers, getting poisoned by the natives, lots of details that are on the manager's mind. Manager pushes them to work harder, operate efficiency, keep progressing in the right direction, keep, singing a happy song. However, let's say there's one guy who's also with the group who is the leader. They're not acting as the manager, they're not cracking the whip. They're not helping people, drink water if they pass out. Instead, their job is to think about things. They climb up to the top of a tree or whatever. They climb way up so they can go look up above the canopy. They can see, okay, there's the sun. There's a mountain over there. There's what looks like a fire. They're looking around, getting the lay of the land. Maybe they have a map with them. But their basic function here is to see the bigger picture. In modern business, they say the 30,000-foot view, and then the manager is down picking up ants off of the runway. But the leader has this vision from way up above, and they see, okay, you're doing a good job down there, but we're actually in the wrong jungle. We need to be over there about 10 miles. So everyone pack up your gear. Let's go. He tells the manager, strike everybody, get all your equipment and go that way because we're in the wrong jungle. And then this is frustrating to the team and the manager because we've been working so hard to go in this one direction, keep efficiently going this direction, but in the big picture is they're fighting the wrong fight. They're in the wrong part of the map. They need to be somewhere else to be more effective. So as to why the authors make a distinction between the two, they probably want to reinforce the idea that a leader can manage, but a manager is not always a good leader. This idea came up with Dr. Tor's research of construction company executives in Singapore, which came up with the themes of definitional, conceptual, functional, and behavioral differences on page 193. Another difference from that study suggested that managers compel subordinates to adhere to policy. So leaders may set that policy, but leaders are there to set an example and to persuade subordinates to willingly follow without the carrot and the stick approach. They're going to use their charisma. They're going to use stories, being personable, approachable, speaking up confidently. They're going to embody what the vision is that the company needs to attain, and they're going to do it in a way that they're going to communicate in a way that the followers will naturally want to comply, want to go along, want to follow in that direction because they see the vision also. Managers impose order, leaders challenge and empower. So all this makes a manager come across as a kind of a petty jerk or the bad cop, in the bad cop, good cop situation. But it can also be like two parents who are disciplining a child. So if both parents are united and positive, stick to the plan and the message, they'll probably come out with a good outcome. All right. Next, what are the most important leadership and followership approaches you should consider in developing as you prepare for your future work? So in my career, if we can call it that, I have been a team manager before when I made sure to keep things running as smoothly as possible, and my job was to enforce policies that were passed down from leadership. Other than setting the best example I could, I think I consider myself I could not consider myself to be a visionary leader. I didn't come up with great new ideas on where the company was going. I left that to the 2 or 3 levels above me. I didn't worry about how the financials were doing. I didn't worry about, whether we were in the right market. I was just focused on making sure we were doing the best. My team was doing the best with the resources we had. I'm fine with being down in the jungle, keeping the equipment in shape and so forth. I didn't necessarily like dealing with the human being aspect. Mostly they saw me as the guy to complain to and to share their gross secrets, but I'm probably more comfortable, enthused about being the engineer, like figuring out, okay, what are the obstacles and how do we get past them? Not glossing over the details like, oh, sure, we can just gloss over this and get through that obstacle, no problem. Instead, I like to think, okay, here's the list of 20 things that are going to hold us back, and here's what we have to do to overcome all that. I often see leaders as uninterested, though, in the details and obstacles. They get frustrated when detractors, such as myself, bring up the details. Maybe it comes across as dissent, if I'm not agreeing with them. If I don't say anything I say besides yes, it means no. I remember someone saying that I heard about. I don't necessarily want to be a manager, leader, but I am convinced after studying or COM that every member of a team must have a degree of leadership in them already. They must develop it. Even as a follower, as in followership from section 2, I'm managing my career and making sure that I'm doing my best to grow and do well in the work. Or if not, then I have the vision to prepare myself for other opportunities. Taking the organizational orientations quiz on page 213, I came up with a lot of positive answers for my current workplace. I think I'm upwardly mobile. I'm not indifferent. I'm not ambivalent about what I do. I can clearly see that meaning is important to me in my work, and I would not be happy just showing up to any arbitrary work situation to collect a paycheck. I don't believe that life begins each day at the end of the workday. I also like working with people who are reasonably engaged in what they do, resourceful, but those who are not overboard, like work is life, or people who could not give a flying bleep about what they do. Okay, next, discuss the importance of mentorship and coaching. I have been working in information technology, IT, mostly in technical support for a number of years, and I've become a strong believer in good documentation and mentoring. So what does that mean, mentoring, in the realm of tech support? Mentoring is more about technically helping less experienced technicians to become more familiar and proficient with useful concepts and tools. I admit it's also a little human element. A lot of times this IT tech support deals with customers, like dealing with irate people over the phone or irate CEOs that don't like that you impose some security policy on them. So you've got to learn how to chill out, be a good listener, repeat back to them, use their own, make sure they use their own words to describe the problem, the basic fundamentals of good human being tech support service. All right. But as a team manager, I really encourage each member to extend their reach to the tier above them, such as a level 1, whose basic job is triage, tracking information, recording it, doing quick research if they can, if they've got 15 seconds, extending their skill set up to level 2, which is more about deeper knowledge of systems, keeping a toolbox of scripts, websites, commands they can use to troubleshoot or fix things, and so on. So I would encourage them to take some time on their own to study, and I would spend time with each of them, helping them out. Of course, this is different kind of than the way that than the realm of corporate mentoring that is described in the book. Page 218, the stages of mentoring. In that realm, it is more about bringing a junior member up into the culture, the corporate culture, the C-suite culture, let's say, getting their feet wet with some initial projects, making connections with others in the organization. But my form of mentoring, although ongoing, could be accomplished over a few weeks or months. There's not a lot of information to cover, but it's more about making sure that I'm nudging those lower team members to try to reach higher. But in corporate mentoring, this process can take years, even over an entire career. So that reminds me of an example of a TV show. Thank goodness I have good examples. This makes it easier for you to comment. Maybe some of you know about this show, maybe you don't, but it's a good one. It's called Better Call Saul. In case you don't know what it's about, it's basically about a couple of lawyers who start out with idealistic ethics, but come across a lot of challenges where they choose ultimately to get a lot less ethical in what they do. The two characters are Kim Wexler and James McGill. They both started in the mailroom at a prestigious law firm in Albuquerque, and they both determined they wanted to become lawyers. They really admired the people they work with. Kim got a lot of encouragement and help from scholarship, actually, from money to help pay for it, from the firm early on. And she was able to complete her law degree and get hired on. They actively took her under their wing, let's say, and gave her advice, gave her encouragement. However, unfortunately for Jimmy, he was not liked. He was considered to be like a pariah, like a sham, they dismissed him. They did not believe him from the beginning. They saw something in this character that thought he liked to cut corners, that he was, not above board. They just could tell he was kind of skeezy, kind of shifty. And so from the beginning, they didn't like him. They didn't give him any help. They discouraged him, as a matter of fact. He was on his own, but he was really determined, and he actually did persist in getting a law degree, although online from the College of American Samoa. And he did pass the bar, although he still was not brought under the wing or even encouraged by the firm. And so drama ensues. The premise of the show basically is that Jimmy, aka Saul in this show, faced major setbacks to his dreams since he did not receive mentoring or encouragement from the firm. Kim got a lot of encouragement. So if you're empathetic to his plight, you can understand why he felt justified in breaking bad in the law, becoming a criminal lawyer, wink wink, in contrast to Kim, who is principally above board, except Jimmy is her boyfriend, and now he's a bad influence on her, and drama llama ensues. All right, here we go. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I know this is YouTube. And subscribe and vap me. I mean it. Everybody has to comment now. No slacking off. Bye for now.